And thank you for coming back this morning. We will now call this December Executive and Finance Committee meeting to order. Would you please provide roll call? Pardon me. We'll do invocation first, so the roll call is blessed. Wes, would you do invocation?
Absolutely appreciate it. Heavenly Father, we just come to you in this time of year where we get to celebrate each other's company. We get to share some food with one another, and we get to share our inspirations, but ultimately it all comes back to you and your birth, and we want to celebrate that. We want to live and care for one another and live an example by you, and we pray that our business meeting here today, we conduct ourselves in that manner, and when we leave here, we're able to share with fellowship with our staff as they come through, our employees that then go on and take care of the rest of our citizens. So in your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, Gail, appreciate it if you would provide roll call.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Josh Sam. Danny Callison. Julia Coates. Sean Crittenden. Joe Deere. Mike Dobbins. Rex Jordan. Johnny Kidwell. Darrell Legg. Wes Snowfire. Dora Patskowski. Mike Shambaugh. Melvina Shotpouch. E.O. Smith. Canessa Teehee. Victoria Vasquez. You have a quorum.
Perfect. Well, it's great to have a full house this morning. I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the November 14th regular session meeting.
So moved.
We got a first and a second there. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. It passes. Thank you. Well, takes us to reports. Mr. Chuck Garrett, are you with us one way or the other today?
Good morning. I am.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you, and I apologize for not being there in person. I'm fighting that old problem of trying to be two places at once, and I've yet to try to make that work. But it also looks like I picked the wrong day not to be there. So I'm hoping I can get a little take-home package there, but no, I appreciate the opportunity to address you this morning, and want to first start with a brief financial overview, how we're doing. And because of the time of month and the irregular schedule with this meeting, given the holidays, I'm commenting right now on the financial performance in October, and I'll give a little ad lib on November, as I know basically the first close and the trends there. So October was a month, in fact, it continued in November, and from what we can see in December on the gaming side, extremely strong, ahead of budget on both top line and bottom line. Seeing a lot of strong interest from our gaming customers, and very excited about that. On the federal contracting side, October was a little slower on the top line, given some of the contracts that we're winding up, but we're seeing those pick up in November and through to December as some of the larger contracts that we won, and I've discussed with you all during the final quarter of our fiscal year. So we're excited about that and making some good progress. Some very good feedback from the customer on the federal side, some of the agencies, and I'll go into just a little bit more of that in a moment. Currently, just reporting on workforce, we have a workforce of 7,963 employees. Of those, we can apply a preference on 3,690 positions. Of those positions, we have just shy of 62% Cherokee citizens filling those roles, and another 6.2% are other tribal nations. So our total tribal employment is right at 68%. So continuing to recruit hard, as I've mentioned, seems like every every month now, that we are, certainly in the market for, some hardworking women and men. So, please don't hesitate to send them our way. I mentioned to you all, last, meeting that we had, increased a internal referral fee for our employees, within Cherokee Nation. We've kind of done a deeper study over the last quarter to see just how effective that's been. And, all of the statistics that we have analyzed are, very positive on that program. So it's a $500 referral fee for employees, referring potential employees that stay with us 90 days or longer. And so it's turned out to be quite effective because, you wind up referring your family, your cousin, or your neighbor. And so these are people that that you want to work with, that you have some indication are committed to bettering our company. And so it's a quite effective way for us to recruit, and we're going to double down on that as we move forward. Just a few non-financial, at least non-financial reporting issues that I'd like to keep you aware of. I think this morning, later this morning, there is will be an announcement about a Tulsa Area United Way contribution that CMB made to the amount of $50,000. Of course, we're long been supporters of Tulsa Area United Way. Of course, it's more of a regional approach, but I just wanted to bring that attention to you. I signed a notification to the council yesterday, and it's probably floating around there somewhere. Also, I just want to give you a word of appreciation and thanks. I did see with interest yesterday the Rules Committee and then later the Tribal Council approving Clark Dishman and Bill Hickman to our CMB board. Of course, that takes us to 17. That fills us up, but it's, those are some really talented individuals that you, I think, got to know a little bit leading up to the committee meetings. And as you heard, they are very, very qualified and bringing some unique skills to our board. So we're excited about that and just wanted to thank you for your continued efforts on that front. 'Tis the season, and meaning that CMB has made our annual contribution to the Cherokee Nation Angel Project. And, this has been a very exciting, kind of unifying effort each year for us. I think this makes actually the 17th consecutive year that CMB has contributed to the tribe's annual holiday campaign. In addition to a $20,000 gift, there were thousands of toys that were collected by our employees, and it's very gratifying to see everybody coming together to provide for some kids that may not otherwise have a kind of Christmas that we want them to have. And so I'm very proud of our people for that. I want to also call out our Cherokee Casino Hotel and Hotel Roland employees, because they have been recognized as the best of the best in 2022 by the Times Records. And so that's a very distinguished honor, and really recognizing them for their impeccable service, hospitality, and customer experience that they provide there. And we're very proud of them. They not only provide, great financial results, but those customer accolades are very meaningful to all of us. It's something that we all should be proud of. Want to also give just a little bit of a shout out to the Cherokee Nation Film Office. As you all know, they're doing some tremendous things and have recently been recognized by the Movers and Shakers Award in London. So this is a very international award celebrating the excellence in global production, and it's the Film Commission Initiative of the Year Award. And so we'll be seeing more of that it's something that's really, I mean, that's a pretty amazing honor. This is a pretty relatively new initiative for CMB to help build the film industry in Cherokee Nation reservation area and provide opportunities for Cherokees to pursue careers in film. So very proud of the work that they're doing. They've also been partnering with filmmaker Andrew Troy to bring filming of a historic Native American film highlighting the legacy of Ponca Chief Standing Bear, and that will be shot in and around Cherokee Nation Reservation. So very, very impressive work that they're doing, and wanted to highlight that for you all. Lastly, I just want to bring attention to our Cherokee Federal's program, the Cherokee Nation Strategic Programs. They have been serving as the prime contractor for the Defense Health Agency on a $50 million Armed Forces Health Surveillance Program. And one of the aspects that we judge our performance on is the feedback, of course, that we get from the customer. And I was proud that just in a recent survey of the customer, we received a 9 out of 10 in each of the 7 categories survey. So our men and women serving our federal agencies are doing a heck of a job, and of course all that bodes well for future contracts and future dividends to Cherokee Nation. So with that, I'll pause and happy to try and answer any questions you might have.
Well, thank you for that detailed report, Chuck. Are there questions? Yes, Wes.
Good morning, Chuck. A little bit more on the federal contracting side that I had questions about. Obviously, I had seen you in Tulsa whenever they were trying to propose the illegal immigration camp in Tulsa. I know we've done other ones. I believe that there's currently a contract out there, $215 million or something like that in Texas to do the same kind of processing. I know our contracting business is something that doesn't get well divulged back here to our citizens on our business scope of what we do. So could you kind of share with us a little bit more on what our scope of how we're involved in that? Or is it just for housing? Are we processing, placement, those kind of analytics behind that contract that we're not sure aware of? And that would help me be able to explain to those citizens what we're doing.
Sure. Well, first off, just a point of clarification. Those were not, we weren't proposing to house illegal immigrants. All of those potential were refugees. Refugees, different status than an illegal immigrant. That's an official status by the United States government. So very different set of customers, if you will. But what we have done in the past, and we're currently not, we don't have a contract that we are executing, but in the past, what we have done is help provide humanitarian services. That's really the bottom line. We've done it for children that have arrived in our country without the benefit of an adult. Those children under 18 are given refugee status. So that's the distinction I'm making in this case. And that's the humanitarian services we provided in Pomona, which is a process of stabilizing, providing medical care, stabilizing their nutrition, and then ultimately they are adopted. I started using the word adopted. That is not always the case. They are taken for further long-term care by other nonprofits, family members, other parties that are vetted by HHS and other government agencies. Of course, in the other case that we provided humanitarian services were to the Afghan allies in D.C. when they fled after the United States military left Afghanistan. And so that, again, was a humanitarian service. We stabilized that population. Ultimately, they were found long-term housing and are in for the most part, in the DC area right now.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how, we're looking at, right now, there's a crisis on the border as we speak. And you may have seen in the paper just recently, I mean, there's a growing crisis down there. And of course, we're monitoring it just because, to see what there might be that we could help with. But, we won't be dealing with illegal immigrants.
Okay, so we just turn the status over to refugees. On the processing for placement on these family members or long-term placement sponsors, if you will, are we processing that part of it too and vetting those sponsors so that way we then move those kids onto those sponsors?
In part, we also do that in conjunction with and in partnership with, different federal agencies that provide some of that vetting, but that is in part what we do. There are other NGOs that provide those services as well. So it is a collaborative effort.
So whenever this first contract came up, I expressed my concerns on the scope of business not being, what I consider what my citizens back here are looking to have fulfilled, mainly because some of the things that could arise out of such a contract. Have you been aware of anybody that's come forward or said any sort of complaints about that process or maybe have shed some light on some issues that may have happened out of Pomona Beach?
Well, I've not been aware of any that have been directed to Cherokee Nation businesses or Cherokee Federal. There are, of course, all kinds of social media chatter out there and about every possible, it's a very politically charged issue, of course, immigration. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm aware of all kinds of news, fake and otherwise, out there that have been leveled primarily in El Paso and along the southern border there, not so much in Pomona. But yeah, that is, I mean, that's the world we live in, as you know, a politically charged environment that has lots of social media outlets that you can express your opinion and your thoughts and perhaps even some distortions.
Okay, there's just some concerns about that contract. I know that this one, it's not so much politically charged as actually an inspector general for the United States kind of came forward as a whistleblower claim that they had been made aware, seen, and reported where children were being trafficked mainly into the Houston area, but she was listing it coming out of the emergency facility in Pomona Beach, California, which would have been our contract. So if she's saying that, and she actually went before United States senators to try to ask for that investigation, I want to make sure that we're aware on that side, because if that was our contract and we're involved somehow, and we're the ones that are also, like you said, having to vet these sponsors, where that went awry. So if she's saying that and asking for an investigation on a panel of the U.S. Senate floor, that needs to be something we need to be looking at as well. I don't know really what this body's effort or willingness to step forward to look into that and help out to try to alleviate those claims. Because like you said, they're all political except for this person working for the Inspector General of the United States. That's what's supposed to create certainty that our contracts and governmental contracts don't go awry out of the American taxpayer money. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and bring it to this body's attention of how maybe we need to look at this and also any future contracts, especially dealing with that scope. So.
Yeah, just a couple of thoughts on that, because I am aware of what you're discussing again. Cherokee Nation businesses, Cherokee Nation or Cherokee Federal. None of that has been asserted towards us. There's always, various inspections and, speaking of inspections, every week we had, elected officials, we had federal oversight officials on site with us, reviewing our practices and procedures. So I feel highly confident that we did nothing wrong. Now, I'm aware of her, she was not a Cherokee Nation or Cherokee federal employee. She's a federal employee or an employee of the federal agencies. So I'm not sure that was an inspector general, but it may have been. I just don't know on that. But they'll continue to do their oversights, and I'm sure there are things to learn, but those are unfounded at this point, and we'll certainly monitor it.
Okay, well, they're definitely something that brought some concern to me. It's something that I brought in the forefront of this contract. So I'm hoping that maybe we can do our due diligence, and I'm sure we will, to make sure that we can clear up what was been said. So appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Counselor Kidwell.
Mr. Garrett, thank you for being here today. A couple of things that I just wanted to thank you for publicly. And I know that whenever we go out to all the at-large events and we talk to our citizens out there, one of the things I push to them regularly is that we are hiring. And we got a lot of jobs to fill. And, you recently, in the same vein of how we did healthcare recently, and we put those, we budgeted money for those navigators to help at-large folks come back and manage that system. I appreciate you guys, your HR team, doing the same thing for us and providing that one single point of contact for at-large citizens looking for jobs and applying for jobs. That is truly going to be a game changer for them and for mine and Councilwoman Coates' telephone as well. Now, I will say that wasn't able to. I didn't get that information in time to put it in my newsletter, but I know that between Councilwoman Coates and I will both be putting that out there. That we truly appreciate that. That is one aspect that I appreciate personally. You guys listening to what's going on, listening to what we're asking for, and providing us with the things, with the tools that we need to help our businesses grow. We all have a stake in C&B. It's our company. We want it to do well. We want it to grow. We want to put Cherokee citizens in there. That'll help us do that. I will also add, while I move through here, the work in the government contracting world is tough. I mean, it's not simple. They go through daily. I mean, many people understand this. They go through daily, if not weekly, inspections, audits. There's politicians there every day, it seems, having been involved in a lot of immigration operations in my career, in my past career, I should say. It's difficult. It's time-consuming. They're there all the time. And listen, if there's anything, if it comes out that we need to change anything, I know that we will. But until those investigations are finalized, they're just, as you said, unfounded at this point. I do appreciate my colleague, Councilor Nofire, for bringing those things up to us. I wish he would also send those things out to us. When we see of things that might be of interest, let's forward those out to everybody and get everybody on the same sheet of what we might need to be looking at. So it just makes it more beneficial for us, and we can all act as one body instead of individually. It makes things a lot better. But I will say thank you. I will yield back the remainder of my time, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Coates.
Thank you. I also, I don't know, Mr. Garrett, how much information you may be getting about this, but I also wanted to add some information to what Councilor Nofire was speaking about, because being in that area, in the Pomona area, I have received communications from sort of grassroots organizations that are on the ground that are also monitoring this particular facility very closely. And just as a reminder to everyone that a lot of the children that are in this facility are indigenous children from south of the border, from Mexico, and especially from Central America. And having a population in the greater Los Angeles area of indigenous peoples from exactly those same groups, they've got their eye on this facility as well through their own organizations. One of the ways in which they particularly engage, I think, is around language usage, because we've got a number of Mayan languages, a number of languages out of indigenous peoples from Mexico that are spoken by the children in those facilities. And we've got community organizations in that area of people who speak those same languages and who are from those same communities that these children come from in Mexico and Central America. And they engage with the children in this facility, to my understanding. And and as I said, they've got their eye on what's going on there as well, and ways in which they can be helpful with children who are not Spanish speaking, but who do speak these indigenous languages. Are you aware of these kinds of organizations and their engagement as well with what we are supporting there?
Oh, absolutely. There are a number of organizations that you suggest that have a keen interest in the treatment of these children, in part because they share some cultural background, some geographic background in many cases. As you know, in reference, that Central America was the source of a lot of those children, and Southern California in general is an area where has a strong representation of those cultures and those nationalities. And so very involved, very engaged, very concerned about how those children were being treated. I had just as a related comment, I mentioned elected officials. The congresswoman from that area literally was there every week, and she came with a very discerning eye and really a critical eye towards how we were performing and what was being done, how these children were being treated. When Chief Hoskin gave testimony to Congress regarding our delegate to Congress, I guess 2 weeks ago now, it was interesting, that congresswoman was on that panel that he provided testimony to. And in that testimony, and it was really a source of pride for me, she went out of her way to thank the chief for our service to those children and to that cause. And she said, listen, I went basically trying to catch you guys doing something wrong, critical eye, didn't want you to do anything wrong, didn't think you would, but I was going to catch you if you did. And she was extremely complimentary of the team and work in the meetings that we had with her to make certain that her questions were answered. And so the oversight was significant.
And I think there's sorry.
Go ahead.
And I think there is a county supervisor, if I'm recalling, Hilda Solis, who has also been very engaged. And so when I say there are others who have their eye, I don't mean in some critical way, but just to say that there are many, many people who are watching in a protective way, I think, of this facility. And so the charges of trafficking would obviously be of great concern to any of us. But I don't think we should suggest that this is just an easy place for people to snatch children out of or anything like that. I don't know what the specific charges may be, but there are many, many, many people who are watching in a very protective way over these children, over this facility. And I agree with you. I think that all I've heard is from the standpoint of people with feet on the ground, eyes on it, is that they're pleased with the entire function overall. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that insight.
I had the honor of being at that hearing and watching Representative Torres make those statements. And the thing that struck me was not the thing that struck me was how she equated what Cherokee Federal was doing in Pomona, not with Cherokee Federal, not with the business, but with this nation, this tribe. And she didn't speak of it as being our business is doing it. It was us. That business is representing us in Pomona. And the way she saw that business represent us in her community, taking care of those children, was very gratifying to see how it represented us. It represented the best of us. I was proud to witness that day. Mr. Shambaugh.
Well, Mr. Garrett, I appreciate you clarifying some things, especially about how the particular lady viewed us as a Cherokee Nation. And I also think this is kind of dangerous ground to infer that we might have done anything wrong, that we could have been part of anything wrong when you absolutely have no information that happened. And the fact of the matter is that CMB and Cherokee Federal were not mentioned in the report. And that's a fact. So to say that, oh, we might have possibly done, that's just spreading a rumor. That is not true. That's a half-truth, or not even a half-truth. And I don't think this is the place for doing things like that. If you don't have all the information, don't start making things up and say, what if? You know, you need to be patient enough as a leader to get all the information before you spout out a statement that something is true, when obviously you don't know that it is. That's just spreading a rumor, and I think it has no place in this council.
Thank you. Is there others before I recognize Wes again? All right.
Just want to kind of clear some things up, because I don't think we need to be trying to reprimand anybody in this council, and I do sure try to not reprimand any of you guys for your questions or concerns. This is a council in which we try to get questions answered. Yes, there are claims that were made about this contract. Absolutely. We have that contract. It listed Pomona, California as a place for the emergency site. When we had that contract, that's our responsibility to ask, are these claims some way that we could help alleviate? Maybe it was something by somebody else. Maybe it was a sponsor that slipped through the cracks and was able to do this. This is how you prevent things from continuing to happen, is whenever someone with such a title of an inspector general's office for the United States comes forward to the United States Senate questioning where children have looked to be trafficked out of. And that place happened to be coinciding with where our contract was. That's the questions that have to be asked. Those are the hard questions, and those do not need to be browbeaten into or on people just because they ask them. So that's why I asked. I'm glad that you clarified that, and I'm glad that it's on your radar and your attention. It is a great concern for me. It is business, it is contracts that we deal with, and if it's money, how we make. And if that's how we make our money, and it just so happens that happened, I want to wash my hands of that, because that's not something I signed up for whenever I signed on this job, was to be knowing or overseeing contracts that could have such an outcome. So that's my concern, and I'm right and just in asking for that. And I appreciate you, Chuck, for allowing me to ask that question. Appreciate you, Chair.
Ms. Patskowski.
Yes, I would like to ask if this person can be confirmed that they are with the Inspector General Office. Can you prove that?
Ms. Patskowski, always direct your questions to the chair.
Thank you.
And we will deal with that. We will let that question linger.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, Ms. Coates.
Thank you. I just would like to affirm what Councilor Kidwell said, is that I'm not aware if this is going on social media or whatever, and I think that along with Councilor Paskowski, I would appreciate just having more information, because this is catching a lot of us off guard. I'm not sure where it's coming from, and it certainly, the allegation by whoever is making it from whatever body is running quite counter to what I think, I've certainly heard in the community where I live. And so I would, I think, Mr. Chair, if I could request, if you could gather and disseminate among all of us, any information that Counselor No Fire or anyone else may be able to provide on the issue.
I think that's a very fair ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Chair, if you mind, I just respond to that. Yes, I'll provide the information with you. I'll provide the Senate Committee report that was given from this lady and her claims and her office title where she works for, so that way it can be disseminated amongst the rest of the council, so you have the right to view it. Sorry for the intention of trying to catch you off guard. It was one of those things that I wasn't intending to do. It was brought to my attention yesterday. Prayed over it, thought about it, thinking how is the best way to address this without causing stir, even though it's an important issue to be addressed, and that's why we have these reports, is to ask these questions, and sometimes they're hard, and sometimes they're not easy, and that's why we appreciate someone like Chuck Garrett coming and answering those. So I'll provide that to you, Chair, and we can share it with everybody else.
In my closing statement on this, okay, Mr. Shambaugh.
Well, in getting these, when we do get these reports, I think what we all need to look at is to actually see if our CMB and our Cherokee Federal are mentioned in these. Otherwise, if they're not, then this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're not having enough information before you make an inference.
Thank you.
So,
in my closing remark to this would be, I would ask that in the future to please provide us with this information previous to bringing it before us, so that we would all have an opportunity to review it for a proper discussion. And I think that would be the fair way to do it in the future. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Garrett on any other topic? I think we're good, Chuck. Thank you.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
That brings us to our treasurer, Miss Janice Taylor.
Good morning. I want to wish you guys Merry Christmas before I get into, you have my report. It is for October, which is the first month of our fiscal year. And so there were a lot of transactions and everything, but as far as our audit and that sort of thing, we're just getting going on that. And we will finish closing out this fiscal year this weekend. So that's where we are in finance with the various things we do. Are there any questions?
Other questions for the treasurer today? Aren't you glad they're not?
I am. All right. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for all the work you and your team do all year long. And that brings us to Career Services and Employment with the with the ever-present Diane Kelly.
You have my report. I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and hope 2023 is a good year for all of us. And we are still working on a lot of grants, trying to bring in some more additional revenue for our training and jobs. Josh Drywater has resigned. He was over our grants and compliance, and he's going to the University of Phoenix. And Brenda Fitzgerald's going to assume that role. She's a good grant writer. So we are still working away. And Jeff and George have moved their operations back down here to the complex. When we got the new Quest grant, we knew that there was going to have to be a lot of coordination. And also with our reentry program, we got additional money. So we moved them all back down here. And TANF and Voc Rehab are at Southgate. So if you're inquiring about TANF or Voc Rehab, it's at the Southgate building. We've got a nursing grant we're working on with Steve Jones and his team, and it will be submitted either this week or next week. And we hope to know in March whether or not it's going to be funded, but it will expand our pipeline for nursing, and Rebecca Shepherd and Laura Lundberg are working with us on that. So the two areas that we're going to be working in, besides our linemen and our fiber program, is nursing, IT, been working with Todd Gord, and working with Travis Nolan on a contract that we got through AT&T, which will be housed at our Catoosa office. A lot of good things going to happen in '23, and we're already planning, getting a lot of stuff done, and hopefully we'll be able to share a lot more with you in January and February as we start moving in that direction. Your report shows two outstanding participants, a Mr. Potts and a Miss Potts and a Mr. Clemens. One was hired in child support services, the other one as the help desk support tech. This is basically what our program does. Our program gets people who have some experience or some training, get their foot in the door, and from there, it's up to them whether or not they prove to be a good employee and get picked up through the program. So we like spotlighting these participants that are going to get hired. So do you have any questions?
Always appreciate your reports. And Mr. Deere does.
Yeah, two things. Can you give me an update on the Arbuckle in Melton? Are those kids 18? You remember there's a CDO that they can do? How is that going?
It's going real well.
Do you have a number, like how many kids in that area?
Well, I can get the number for you,
Yeah.
but right now I don't have it. I can put it in next month's report. if that
Okay,
would-
because I'm fixing to do the high school things in that area with the Cherokee students that are graduating. And, you know, we always do that scholarship and then whether they're going to VOTEC. But we're going to throw in that Arbuckle since it's right there in that community
Okay,
for that into the program when I talk to them. So if you can give me some stats on that so I can actually tell the kids and where directly they need to go and how they need to do
do
it.
you need it before next month's report?
It's gonna be close. If I do, it's not an emergency because I can get it to them, because the scholarships is January 17th is the final date. Wasn't that correct?
I can get it to you before then.
Okay, I just need something to give them so they, little guidance where they directly go, I mean, because they are 18. Second thing, can you expand on the nursing program? Is this gonna be what type of nursing grant is this?
The Department of Labor put out a notification that there was a nursing grant available. It's competitive, and we'd be competing with the states. And when you look at what we have here in Tahlequah with our hospital that we're building, our OSU Medical School, plus all of our clinics, and then you look at Northeast Oklahoma, we are a mega complex for health. And we felt like that if anybody could get that grant, we could. And we have our nursing scholarship program that Laura and Jan Grogan work with, and they're both heavily involved in the planning of this. So what our plans are is to buy slots up at all these other programs that are out there that are already sanctioned by the state, and just expand on the existing training programs they have, so that we would have our own as adjacent or an extension, if it's funded. One of the things we're doing with the Quest grant, we wrote nursing into that, and what we're going to do is to let Laura and Rebecca determine the nurses that they want to get certificates in, whether it be in ambulatory care or an emergency. We're going to use the Quest grant to provide training for the existing staff, so that whenever the hospital is built, we'll have several nurses that have certifications in various types of fields in addition to their RN. And then as we start training people throughout the 14 counties, we will have a group of individuals that we've trained that we can pull from for the hospital and our clinics.
So is this something,
Counselor, if we can make this as brief as possible, we're supposed to start feeding at 11, and they're getting noisy out there already.
yeah,
Let's
oh, I get it, but I
let's-
still got a
let's-
question. So is this something that I can tell the senior girls that want to go into nursing, that, is this going to be available that soon?
Any of the council members around this table can tell anybody that we can take an application on them to go into nursing.
Right.
We can do that right now.
Okay, then I'll tell them that as part of that and the grant we'll go with that.
We don't have the grant
Right,
funding.
that's what I'm saying.
We're just
I'll just tell them
applying
it
for it.
might be in place, but,
Yes.
all right, thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for Mike? Pardon me, for Ms. Kelly?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, it looks like EO has something. Oh. Ms. Knight?
And that is we're getting ready to gear up for VITA again. So we'll have, we've already got our location set, and we'll be sending that out to you guys, and staff will start training in December. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about my report.
Do you have questions for Anna today? I see none. Don't you feel sad?
It does make me sad.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that takes us to our consent items. You've all had an opportunity to review the consent items and look them over. There's several things here, but you've all had ample time to review them. If I see no objections to anything on the consent report, they pass by consent. And I see none. So we'll move forward to item number 1. On our new business, there is no old business, so Counselor Josh Sam, would you take that, please?
This is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus items to Cave Spring School. And I put this in the form of a motion.
Got a first and a second there. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, that takes us to item number 2, and Counselor Shambaugh, would you take that, please?
This is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus items to Oaks Fire Department, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Got a first and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you, it passes. Number 3, would E.O. Smith please take that?
You bet. This is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus items to Bragg's Public School. Put this form of motion.
We got a first and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right, that passes. And then the budget mod 3, would Victoria Vasquez, would you take that, please?
Certainly. This is an act amending legislative act number 30-22, authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2023, mod 3, and declaring an emergency. And I put this in the form of a motion.
Perfect. We got a first and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right, that passes. That takes us to announcements. Any announcements other than get yourself ready to serve food?
I got one quick announcement.
Yes.
I just want to congratulate Seth Pratt, playing at Tulsa Memorial. He committed to Northeastern State. He's one of the top shooters in the state, and he committed for Northeastern next year to go to college and play ball.
Excellent. So it's good to hear our young people do well. It shows that our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for January 26th, so it'll be a while. And I hope everybody has a great and Merry Christmas, and thank you for the hard work you did today and the good questions we had. This meeting is motion to adjourn. All in favor say aye. All in favor say aye.
All right.